What is going on, everybody? It is Mike Charlip, and I am here by myself. Um, this is going to be different. So, normally, when we do a podcast, obviously it'll be two of us or sometimes three of us, usually me and Alan. But Alan is just getting back from a vacation, so he was unable to watch Full Gear, and I wanted to get a review out before the end of this coming week, but that doesn't look likely. And Tanner is currently unavailable, so it's just me. I don't know if this will become something that I do frequently. I just wanted to try it out, see what happens, because this was a hell of a show that I think deserved to be talked about. Of course, I'm here to review AEW Full Gear 2024. And I will say that I don't think that this was the best show that AEW has put on this year, but it certainly was not a bad one. If you look up and down this card, there is a lot of great matches, a lot of good matches, not really a bad match. Just some matches were better than others. Um, and I think that they did a great job of implementing storylines into each match, except for maybe one or two that obviously we will talk about. Um, but yeah, I all around actually really enjoyed this show. And yeah, there was some matches that were absolute bangers and some matches that were very good and could have been better, but still not bad. Um, but yeah, all in all, I think this show is worth the watch. I have actually watched some of the main matches multiple times just because of how much I enjoyed them. Um, and I think that everybody who didn't get a chance to watch this show should watch this show. So let's get right into the matches. So the pre-show, there was one match that was announced very early, and then the other two that were announced very late. The first match that happened on the pre-show was going on when the fans were still filing into the building, so you could kind of tell that it was very quiet, or at least not as loud as it could be for this match. And you could also tell that not everybody has gotten into the building yet for this match. The first match on the pre-show was Deonna Purrazzo of the Vendetta, accompanied to the ring by uh, Taya Valkyrie, to take on Anna Jay. And the Vendetta apparently has been targeting Anna Jay for a little while now. And this match was passable, but it was very odd that you have a match in New Jersey with Deonna Purrazzo not officially on the card until this match was announced very late. And the match is under 10 minutes, and Anna Jay just wins with a roll up after Taya Valkyrie got involved very in front of the referee and got ejected from the ringside area. And Anna Jay just wins. And it was just very odd to me that that's the way that they went, because why even have this match? In like, I get it. AEW was kind of like the place for a while where people win in their hometowns or home state in this case. And Deonna, like, kind of needed a win here, and Anna Jay didn't. Anna Jay just came off a women's title feud that she, let's be honest, didn't deserve. And I mean, yes, she was winning matches, but there was other people that were winning matches that should have had title shots before her. And I thought that this match was fine. Just the weird, abrupt ending and like the wrong person won, in my opinion. and not because it's in New Jersey and Deanna should win in New Jersey, but because what's the point of the feud? You got the vendetta targeting Anna Jay for some reason, and Anna Jay just wins, making it weird, making it pointless for them to continue to do this feud. I mean, sure, you can say that the Vendetta's not happy now, so they're going to continue to target Anna Jay, and Anna Jay needs a partner. But wouldn't it make more sense for Deanna to win and for Anna Jay to have to keep fighting them and to get a partner to beat them eventually? Like, yes, you could do another singles match. You could do Taya versus Anna Jay, but still, like, it just felt weird to me that this is who won the match. So, not a lot to talk about here. Just a passable match with a weird result, in my opinion. The next match on the card was a match that was just thrown together and didn't really have any stakes. It was just a fatal four-way match. It was Commander versus the Beast Mortos versus Buddy Matthews versus who was the fourth guy? Dante Martin. Sorry. And yeah, I mean, this match was also fine. It had a lot of great spots, as you would expect in a Commander Dante Martin match. Buddy Matthews is one of the best wrestlers that they have, and he's getting to showcase what he could do in this match. But I wish they would have did something where this match mattered. Like, since you have the C2 coming up, say that the winner gets a spot, or do something. The winner gets a future TNT title shot. The winner is in contention for something. But this was just a showcase match, which is also fine. And I think the right person won, because out of everybody in this match could have a spot in the C2 as a person that either does pretty well but doesn't advance to the finals, or is the person that takes all the pins. I wouldn't want that for Buddy Matthews. I want Buddy Matthews in the C2 regardless. But I thought this match was good. I just didn't understand why it needed to happen if there was nothing on the line. I hope that at some point Buddy Matthews, and I've talked about this on social media, I've talked about this on here. I want House of Black to do more things. I want House of Black to get opportunities. I want all three of those guys to have single titles at some point. And they don't have to break up in order to get there. So yeah, I this match was fine. Beast Mortos is great. Commander is great. Dante Martin is great. It's just Buddy Matthews, I think, needed the win more than they did. You're not really building Commander to anything. He's kind of just a guy that shows up in matches, does flashy stuff, and then loses. That's kind of been his MO since he's been in AEW. Beast Mortos, kind of the same thing, just a bigger guy. And Dante is a tag team guy that just doesn't get any opportunities. I'm hoping down the line that him and his brother will get some tag team opportunities. But yeah, Buddy Matthews, I need him to get some singles opportunities, and this is fine for him to get a win here. I want him in the C2. I want him to do well. I don't expect him to win it, obviously, but I want him to show out enough that he proves that he deserves a shot at, like, the TNT title, for example, or even an international title down the line. And yeah, this match was fun, but just it was what it was. We'll see what happens. They announced, I don't know if they announced when they announced it, but they did announce that the C2 participants are going to be announced on Sunday, which is the day that I'm recording this. Uh, they're going to do some kind of YouTube selection Sunday type deal where they announce all the participants. So I put out a tweet or uh, a post or a skeet, as they're calling it, on Blue Sky, because Blue Sky has become the new social media platform that everybody seems to be on. So I actually posted something the day that they announced that the C2 was coming back again. Obviously, you're going to have Okada in this because they are still doing this for the Continental Championship. So Okada, and again, this is just me spitballing names, but I'm just thinking about people that should be in there to like showcase their abilities as well as show out enough that they deserve more opportunities down the line. And you also have to have some big names in there. Okada is obviously one of those big names. Being the champion, he's in it automatically. I also had Adam Cole, Big Bill, who needs to get away from Jericho and needs to showcase his single abilities. This would be the best way to do that. Buddy Matthews, obviously, for all the things that I said before. Hologram, again, kind of doing what him or Commander could be in this role, could be in this spot regardless, because they're going to be the guy that shows out physically, probably doesn't win a lot, or does win a lot, but doesn't win in the finals. Hologram hasn't been pinned in an official matter. He's been pinned in a 2 out of 3 falls match, but he hasn't been pinned where it counts as a loss. So I don't know if they would want to do that per se. But so you could have Hologram or Commander in that spot. Then I also have Shelton Benjamin. For obvious reasons, Shelton Benjamin is killing it since he showed up in AEW. Needs to keep killing it. And I am hoping that he is in this tournament to have amazing matches with whoever is in the block with him, and get close to maybe making the finals. I don't think he would make the finals per se, because I'm pretty sure Okada is going to the finals regardless. I don't think they want him to lose the belt by not making the finals, because that would just suck. Because it's Okada. He's one of the greatest wrestlers ever, let alone in this generation. So then I also had Nick Wayne, because you need somebody in there. I think Nick Wayne is obviously, this could be him, this could be somebody else, like you could have Dante Martin in there, or an Anthony Bowens as a singles guy, but we'll talk more about Anthony Bowens later. Then I also have Pac in there because it doesn't seem like they're doing a lot with those trios belts right now. Pac deserves some kind of showcase here. Hobbs, because get Hobbs in there, have him do amazing stuff, have him have great matches. Then I got Osprey and Fletcher, who, again, we're going to talk about those two later. And I could be wrong about them being in it, but I just think it would be cool if they were. And going off of Cole being in it, I have Kyle O'Reilly as my last entrant. So obviously, these can all be incorrect. I could get some of them correct. I could get one of them correct. Either way, I am very excited to see what they're going to do with the C2. I love the concept of the C2, not just because it's a round robin like the G1, but because of the rules that they have in place where nobody can interfere and it's just a straight up wrestling match, which is what I love. I love just straight up wrestling, winner, loser. And if this being a tournament, a round robin tournament where you have to face everybody in your block before you move on to the next round, it's just, you're going to get a lot of first time matches, or, some rematches that we haven't seen in a long time. Like if Kyle and Adam Cole are in it and are in the same block, they always have a great match because they're best friends. best friends in real life always tend to have great matches in the ring. So, and again, maybe they aren't in it at all because we'll talk about later. So we'll see what happens. C2 going to get participants today as of recording, and it's going to start on Wednesday. So the last match on the pre-show or the buy-in or the whatever they call it now is Big Boom AJ of the Costco guys going one-on-one with QT Marshall. Now, I get it. I understand why this is happening. The Costco guys have a big social media following, and it wouldn't be right to not do it if you have the opportunity to do it. This is what WWE does. They've done it multiple times in the past. Somebody gets hot on social media. They're fans of wrestling, or in this case, have wrestled in the past or have a history of wrestling. So I get it. And he happens to have a history with QT Marshall, being from the same area, both from the New Jersey area, this show being in New Jersey. So it makes sense that they were doing this. It's just not for me because I'm not a fan of what the Costco guys do. That's not something that I follow. That's not something that I go out of my way to see. But I get it. And you're going to keep getting stuff like this in wrestling, in any company. WWE is doing it with Logan Paul. And I will not compare this to Logan Paul because Logan Paul is a shit person. That's completely different. I don't know anything about, it's just, it's fine. And the match was fine. The match was passable. The match was good for what it was meant to be. And of course, QT Marshall most of this was probably his idea. Most of this was probably him willing to do everything that he could to make this match what it needed to be. And they announced in the weeks coming that the Rizzler would be at ringside as the special guest timekeeper. They did not let you forget that while watching the match because every couple of minutes they would just go and put the camera on him sitting at ringside in the timekeeper area. And he would do his little shtick. And at some point during the match, QT Marshall goes outside of the ring and tries to get in the Rizzler's face. Paul White happened to be on commentary for this match and got in QT's face to get away from the Rizzler, who is 7 years old, by the way. So at some point, it looked like Big Boom AJ was about to win, and Aaron Solo came out, who I guess is still affiliated with QT, even though QT is not a regular character on the show anymore, on any of the shows, considering he wasn't on TV at all after re-signing, except for this. So Aaron Solo shows up, and while the ref is distracted, Big Justice, the 12-year-old son of Big Boom AJ, the other member of the Costco guys, gets in the ring and spears QT Marshall. And QT sells it like he was torn in half, obviously. And not a bad spear from a 12-year-old. I think there's some other spears that are out there that I would say are not better than that, which are hilarious, which is hilarious. And of course, then this was followed up by Big Boom AJ hitting a falling power bomb and securing the victory. The Rizzler gets in the ring after the match. They all celebrate, and that's it. apparently he did he did the presser, the post show presser, and said that he would like to wrestle again, but doesn't expect to be going for any championships, or he doesn't think that he is able to get ready and well enough to fight for championships. I personally do not want to see Big Boom AJ of the Costco guys go for any championships at all. I think that's a horrible idea. I would prefer people who are on the road nonstop to be in the title pictures. People who, and I get he used to be a full time wrestler, but he's only here because of his TikTok and YouTube fame, and that's fine. I'm not holding that against him at all. I never want to see him in a championship match. Never. Never, ever. That sounds like a horrible idea. So moving on from that, great showing here. Fine match. The main card. So AEW has been doing this thing for a while. They did it at All In, where they have like these big multi-man matches to save time on the main show. They do some of the entrances during the pre-show. I like that a lot. They did it again, like I said, they did it at All In, and they did it again here. So this is the tag team title fatal 4-way match. Private Party defending against House of Black, the Outrunners, and the Acclaimed. And if you couldn't tell, this match was all about the Acclaimed and not the champions, which I hated. So you had other stories that are kind of mixed in here. House of Black, kind of just the team that didn't have much going on, but was cool to see them in it. The Outrunners get in this match, and FTR doesn't. So obviously, it seems like they're building to something where FTR turns on them, because FTR needs a heel run at some point soon. I've loved their babyface run. They've had great matches on this babyface run, but I think it's time for a change. I love FTR. FTR is probably my favorite tag team ever, but it's time for a change. I think the story is well in place of FTR being jealous of the Outrunners for getting over it, doing some old shtick, when FTR is a current team that doesn't need gimmicks to get over and just loves wrestling. And at some point, I think that turn is going to happen. I thought it should happen in this match where FTR shows up and causes the Outrunners to lose. That did not happen. And Private Party, the champions, just finally getting their moment, finally winning the belts when they should have won them at Wrestle Dream. Instead, winning them at a following Dynamite, which is fine. They did the same thing with the Acclaimed a few years ago. They knew they had the hot hand here. They knew that it was time for Private Party to get the opportunity to be the champions. The problem here is that this match was focused too much on the Acclaimed, who the majority of the match, the build to this match, the majority of just everything going on in this match was about the Acclaimed not getting along, the Acclaimed having differences, the Acclaimed fighting with each other. And of course, that would end up being their downfall. So there's multiple things. Max did his normal rap during his entrance where he said some weird stuff that nobody cared for. And then instead of handing the mic to Bowens like he normally would, he threw it. And Bowens had to go and pick it up. And Bowens then just did his shtick where he said the Acclaimed have arrived, scissor me, daddy ass, and all that. Then during the match, there's blind tags by Caster when Bowens is like about to go for a pinfall. They're setting up for the arrival and the mic drop, and there's miscommunication. At one point, Caster tried to do the New Age Outlaws spot where Bowens was the legal person against somebody else, and Caster tags in and asks Bowens to pin him so that they pin each other and win the belts, which is such a stupid spot. I hate it. This is one of the reasons why I hate when they do these multi-man tag team matches and only two people are legal. You should be able to it's a fatal four-way. Have four people legal so you could tag your own partner. Same thing with a triple threat. Have three people legal so you could tag your own partner. So you can't do this stupid bullshit that nobody wants to see. It's just dumb. And of course, Bowens tries to do it, and it doesn't work out. And the Outrunners, and it just felt like the Outrunners were everybody was trying to win, and Caster was just trying to be a show-offy dick the whole time. And like I said, this match wasn't about the champions. It was about the Acclaimed not getting along, which, like, just do that in another match. Why do you have to do that in a tag title match? You could have had LFI in here, or FTR also in here. It just doesn't. Nobody cares about this. And there was one point during the match where, for some reason, Owens was going to scissor with one of the Outrunners, and Max prevented that from happening. So the fans started chanting "Fuck you, Caster," and obviously the turn is coming. Who's going to be the person to initiate it? Obviously, it doesn't really matter. It's happening. The Acclaimed are not as over as they used to be. Nowhere near as over as they were in 2022 when they won the championships at Grand Slam. I was there. The crowd absolutely lost it when the Acclaim won the belts. This is not that. That is gone. Nobody cares about Max Caster on the level that they care about Anthony Bowens. And that is very obvious to a lot of people. So it's time. It's time to move on from this. It's time for people to get Anthony Bowens in a singles run. That's what people want to see. We don't want to see the Acclaimed as a team anymore. And to be honest, I don't need to see Billy Gunn anymore. I really don't. I love Billy Gunn, everything that he's done. Don't need to see him anymore. He doesn't need to be a regular person on TV. So, Private Party does end up winning this match by hitting the gin and juice on Max Caster. But as I mentioned, it felt like everything going on in this match was centered around the Acclaimed and not centered around the championships, which it should have been. And that's a problem to me. So, we're moving on from this. Hopefully, the champions will find some new challengers, an actual program. Maybe it's House of Black, who didn't get pinned. Maybe the Outrunners go for another opportunity, and that's when you get the turn from FTR. Maybe it's some other team that finally gets an opportunity, like a Top Flight. But I love Private Party. I'm very happy that they're the champions still, and hope they get a lengthier run. I hope that they go into their next program is something huge for them. After coming off of beating the Young Bucks, you go into a match like this, which, again, was fine. And like I said, all these matches were passable or good or, in some cases, great, but this match was just fine. And that's because it needed to focus more on the thing that we're here to fight for and not the Acclaimed breaking up, because nobody should care about that, really. So, moving on from that, the next match on the card is a match that didn't really feel all that important going in. It was supposed to. It was definitely supposed to feel important, but it just, in the long run, didn't. So, the next match was MJF taking on Roderick Strong. Now, the story going into this, and I thought it was fine, both Roderick Strong and Adam Cole wanted matches against MJF. MJF has been off TV filming stuff and isn't appearing weekly right now. So he put it in place that both guys needed to win 3 matches in a row in order to face him. Roderick Strong did that. Adam Cole did not. I was of the belief that when both guys got 2 wins, they should have faced each other. That didn't happen. Instead, MJF made some kind of a deal with the Callis family to prevent Adam Cole from winning, which is something that MJF would do. I just think it would have been a better story to have Adam Cole and Roderick Strong face each other for the chance to fight MJF. That's just how I feel about it. But this was fine for what it was. This match was not very long either. And the story really was the post-match. MJF and Roderick Strong had a pretty good match where MJF ends up winning by submission. But the post-match was MJF attacking Roderick Strong again, and Adam Cole coming out to make the save and MJF running away. And Kyle O'Reilly of the conglomeration and the rest of the Undisputed Kingdom coming out to make the save after MJF had left. And Kyle O'Reilly basically berating Adam Cole because he told him that this would happen. He told him that MJF is not worth it. He told him that doing this would cause something like this to happen. And Kyle O'Reilly ended up being correct. And because of that, now possibly the Undisputed Kingdom are at odds with Adam Cole because of this incident. And it puts Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole at even more odds after they didn't shake hands that one time, and then the promo from last week. So are we going to see those two go at it soon? Possibly. As I mentioned earlier, I put them both in the C2. And if they are in the C2, then it would make sense for them to be in the same block. For obvious reasons. But obviously this is leading to World's End, where Adam Cole will face MJF again, where they were supposed to. World's End is where we had the reveal of Adam Cole being the devil and the reveal of the Undisputed Kingdom as a whole. Unfortunately, everybody involved was injured. So we were unable to capitalize on that. So I think World's End is where this needs to end for good. You have the MJF versus Adam Cole match, and then we move on from MJF and Adam Cole forever. Forever. Or at least for a few years. Because I would like to see Adam Cole do other things. I'd like to see MJF do other things. So, obviously, I do want to see them face each other again. But this storyline, this match, all fine. And this was not a bad match, it just wasn't a very long match. Like, I think we wanted more out of this match. Um, it was only 13 minutes and a little under 14, but could have been longer, could have been more, there could have been more to it, but it was fine nonetheless. All right, so now we're going into a stretch of four amazing matches, three amazing matches in a row. The first one is the TBS Championship. Mercedes Moné going up against Chris Statlander. Now they have been building this match for a long time, and it was weird. It's been very odd that we can't have two women's championship matches on the same show. We either have to have a women's title, and then Mercedes isn't doing anything, like at Wrestle Dream, or we have to have a TBS title, and the world champion is on the card or on the show, just not wrestling. I don't understand why that's a thing. I don't know why we can't just have two women's title feuds and two women's title matches on the same pay-per-view. That's something I think AEW needs to fix, even though they've done a lot to fix their women's division and make people care about it. It's the best it's ever been in a long time, and this match is evident of that. This is the Mercedes that everybody wanted. This is the Mercedes. So obviously Mercedes has had some bad injuries. Her match with Stephanie was great. I saw people that didn't like it. Her match with Britt was very good. I saw people that didn't like that. I think that the consensus to this match is this is the match that Mercedes should have had with both of those people. Statlander and Mercedes had one hell of a match here. Probably one of the best women's matches in AEW history. Now, going into this feud, I thought it was very odd that Statlander, obviously going past the idea that Statlander just randomly became a babyface after the Willow feud was over, going beyond that, because that isn't even the thing. The main thing is that Statlander won that feud, and Willow got a world title shot. Why? Because of the history between Mariah and Willow in the Owen Hart Foundation Cup? Okay, but Willow lost, and Statlander didn't. And the whole idea of the story between Willow and Stat was that Willow was holding her back and keeping Stat from achieving her potential of being a world champion. So why is she going after the belt that she had already won before and not the world title if you're just going to randomly make Stat a babyface? Regardless of all of that, the story going into this match has been fine with Mercedes not wanting to face Stat and forcing Camille to do it, and Camille failing. And now Mercedes is berating Camille a lot and setting up a turn there at some point. And it's just odd to me that Stat didn't go for the world title after just everything. But now we get this match, and of course we had the stuff leading up to it. They had the attempted hit and run by Mercedes trying to hit Stat with a car. You had Stat spearing Mercedes and Camille into a very obviously set up wall, which is fine, but it was cool. But yeah, this match was amazing. And there was one spot in particular that I absolutely loved. It was Stat going for a power bomb, and then Mercedes sliding over the top and then turning that into a backbreaker. I thought that was such an innovative spot and I've never seen anything like that before. Um, Mercedes was on fire in this match. The moneymaker, the statement maker, everything that she did was fluent. Everything that she did was crisp. Stat looked great. Stat was selling the hell out of her knee, which is always very concerning because we know that Stat has a history of knee problems. But she sold it great, and there was a spot where she was going for the Saturday Night Fever, or I don't even know if she just calls it the Saturday Night Fever or the Wednesday Night Fever, whatever show she happens to be on. But she was going for it, and because the knee was being worked on, Mercedes like punched at the knee and bit the knee, and found a way out of it. And Stat just wouldn't go down. Everything that she was hitting, everything that Mercedes was hitting Stat with, Stat was kicking out of, and it ended up being that Stat just ran out of gas, and at some point she hit like a cazador or a drop toe hold into the ropes, causing uh, Stat to go throat first into the ropes, and then she just hit a very tight roll up and got the victory. And I think because of that, this feud is probably not over. It probably should be over because Mercedes won handily on her own without help. But I think it's been proven that Stat can take anything that Mercedes throws at her. It just so happened that she ran out of gas, and yeah, this match absolutely ruled, and I absolutely loved it. Um, I think that Mercedes has finally found her groove here. Um, she's been having good matches. People just haven't really been. People wanted her to have those Bianca matches that she was having. People wanted her to have those Bailey matches she was having. So, because they weren't on the level of those matches, people thought she was having bad matches. No, she was having good matches. She just wasn't having amazing matches. And I think this is an amazing match. Um, I'm going to have to look into my women's matches of the year because this might have to be on there. Um, I'm gonna have a hard time with that list for sure. Because this match, Willow and Stat at All Out, there's gonna be a couple of matches from AEW on that list for sure. So we'll see what's gonna happen next for both of these girls. Obviously, they're going to keep planting seeds for Camille to turn on Mercedes, which is totally expected at this point. Mercedes is going out of her way to stay in character in the pressers and saying that she hopes Camille had a good time sitting in the locker room eating dry chicken while watching the match in catering, which made me laugh. But yeah, they're setting up something there. Obviously, it's too early for Camille to be going for championships, but the turn is certainly coming at some point. And imagine Camille and Stat as a tag team. That would be crazy. Um, I don't think that's gonna happen, but just imagine that. So I apologize that I say a lot. I just can't help it. It's just the thing that I say. I gotta stop it. But see, I just did it again. So moving on from that is the next match on the card that, oh my god. So it's Jay White going up against Hangman Adam Page once again. These two cannot have a bad match. It's impossible. It seems like they have such great chemistry going back to their time in ROH and New Japan, and everything that they do is just so crisp. Everything that they do is just so like it looks like it. I can't even explain how good these two are. Hangman Adam Page, absolutely killing this character that he's been playing, and Jay White is just killing being Jay White. And it's crazy because you look at somebody like Jay White, who was such a dastardly heel in New Japan, and has just become somebody that everybody wants to cheer for, to the point where it's like very obvious that they're planning something for him for that Australia show. I don't know if it's a world title shot. I don't know if it's a international title, continental crown. Maybe he's in the C2. Maybe he has a long run and faces Okada again. But this match, I was certain that Adam Page was winning, but it makes so much sense that he didn't, because it makes so much sense that Adam Page just cannot get the job done right now because he is so emotional, because he is so just trying to get past these humps that he is creating, that he cannot get out of his own way, and it's causing him to lose because he's getting over emotional, because he's getting over uh he just cannot get the job done when he needs to, and that is playing a big role in his arc right now. And I should have saw that coming when I was predicting the matches. Um Considering, yes, that Australia show isn't until February, but obviously you got to build Jay White for that show. You have to. You can't halt his momentum in the middle to do something else. And man, this match was so much fun. Uh a lot of back and forth action, a lot of great spots, a lot of working on body parts, a lot of just Adam Page targeting the leg and targeting the ankle and trying to keep Jay White grounded the whole entire match. But knowing that Adam Page already has a hurt leg, and that playing a factor in the match, and Jay White using that against him, and the ankle lock on the ramp played a big role in, like, oh, is this match going to end in count out? Is that how they're going to end this match? But no. Jay is crawling to the ring, outside the ring, in this ankle lock, and gets out of it and just gets back. Adam Page breaks the count. And then just a lot of great back and forth, a lot of great setup for stuff in the future. And I really enjoyed this match for what it was supposed to be. And I really thought that Hangman was going to win. I thought he was going to get his win back here. But I'm not surprised that he didn't. I'm completely okay with that. Just and the fact that that Jay White's finisher is just an ender, no matter what. As soon as he hits the Blade Runner, you know that the match is over, and that's exactly what happened here. And I love that. Um, I thought that this match was a lot of great moments and a lot of great action. And these guys just kill it every single time, and I love it. And I'm very curious to see what is next. Um, Obviously, these two played a factor in the end of the show, um, and I want to know how uh, how that's going to tie in to everything going forward. Um, One thing I will say is Jay White does that sleeper suplex. That thing looks gnarly every single time he does it, but he does it so well. And he hit a lot of them. I believe he hit one on the apron during this match. He hit a couple of them on the outside. It's such a killer looking move, but he does it so well that I love it. I love it. Um, so we'll see what's next for both of these guys. We'll discuss them a little at the end of the show. But yeah, uh, can't say enough about how great these two are. But going off of that, it you go into these shows and you wonder, is somebody going to be able to top Osprey? And you always get proven wrong because once again, Will Osprey having the match of the night and just so happens to be the longest match on the show. This was the only match on the show that went over 20 minutes. It was 24 minutes long. And my God, just how can you talk about matches of the year when Will Ospreay is just having match of the year after match of the year? I don't think that this match is better than Bryan Danielson, that's for sure. But this match is just so good because not only did Will Ospreay show out, not only did Kyle Fletcher show out, but Will Ospreay proved that he can have amazing matches no matter what. And he's been doing that all year long. Will Ospreay's 2024 cannot be matched right now. It's crazy how good Will Ospreay is. Crazy. And him having this chemistry with Kyle Fletcher, I mean, these two have faced each other before, but this match was something special. And you knew these two were going to do some crazy stuff. But the tombstone off of the apron onto the steel steps was one of the gnarliest things I saw in this match, and I couldn't believe that they did it. And just Ospreay, just so like, it's crazy how athletic Will Ospreay is on his own. Just doing these crazy things that nobody else can do, like a corkscrew moonsault to the outside, or a spinning twister senton. Like this guy could do anything, and it's crazy how good he is. But Kyle Fletcher, that kid is so good, even at this age. He's so young and he's so good already. He's going to be a future world champion. Now, what does this mean for like? Because we do want to see Aussie Open again, right? But Kyle Fletcher has gotten to a level where do you even bother? Do you even bother having something with Mark Davis again down the line? It's just so crazy how good these two are, and the sequence of reversals, the sequence of moves that they hit throughout this match. It was 0 to 100 just the entire time, and it's crazy how good they are. And I can't even I can't even talk about how much I love this match. Easily match of the night for me from a wrestling standpoint. Um, go out of your way to watch this match if you haven't. It's great. It's great. It's nearly perfect. Like I said, it is not Danielson and Ospreay by any stretch. It's not. But this match ruled. This match killed it. And I just cannot say enough about it. But Kyle Fletcher getting the win is huge, but also not surprising. So Kyle Fletcher getting the win, I think, puts Kyle Fletcher on a level that he deserves to be at. You're talking about Will Ospreay, former IWGP World Champion, former AEW International Champion, had amazing matches with Danielson, Swerve, Pac, Michael Oku, Josh Alexander, just to name a few. But holy shit, this match. Again, I'm not going to gush for too long, but go out of your way to watch this match if you haven't. And if you have, watch it again because I watched it twice already. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'm so happy for Kyle Fletcher as somebody who has gone out on his own in a sense, obviously he's part of the Callis family, and that is playing a big part in why he is so over and how well he is handling what he has been given. And this story with Ospreay. Now, at some point, I think Mark Davis does have to turn on Will Ospreay. When does that happen? Because I thought maybe that was going to happen tonight. And at some point, Kyle Fletcher has to win some kind of championship. But if Mark Davis is turning at some point, does Aussie Open get back together? It's hard to say. Because does that halt the momentum that Kyle has as a singles guy? I think it does in some way, but because I don't think you can get Mark Davis to the level that Kyle Fletcher is at in a short amount of time to get to that Australia show. So who knows? But I do think Mark Davis does turn on Will Ospreay at some point. I don't know when, but geez, just I can't say enough about how much I love this match. So after this match is when we get the Toni Storm. I said Toni Storm. The Mariah May championship celebration. And there really wasn't a lot to this. And I guess maybe because they were running out of time to do this. I don't know. Or maybe this is just what they had planned from the beginning. So Mariah May gets introduced by Mina Shirakawa, her best friend, Mina Shirakawa. And Mariah does a little speech. Thanks, Mina. Doesn't thank anybody else. And Mariah just says, let's celebrate. And I guess they were going to dance. And then Mariah takes a bottle and tries to hit Mina with it. But Mina sees it coming and then kicks the bottle, and the bottle shatters. So that was a gimmicked bottle for sure. And then Mina just gets really angry and spears Mariah off the stage. And there was 2 tables set up. And of course, they missed the one in the front and landed on the one in the back. And Mariah was essentially knocked out. And Mina was bleeding from the mouth. And then she licked Mariah's face. and then people took her off of Mariah, and Mariah was just out cold. Hopefully selling. Hopefully not out cold for real. Um, so I guess we're getting Mina versus Mariah, which is fine. I think I, like everybody else, was expecting Tony Storm here, and that didn't happen. Are they really going to keep Tony Storm out until Australia? I mean, that's a long time, February, but we'll see, I guess. Uh, so yeah, we're getting Mina versus Mariah. I'm fine with that. But there wasn't a lot to this. Kind of just ended, and that was it. So, the next match was Daniel Garcia versus Jack Perry for the TNT Championship. Now, this story was kind of weird. So, Jack Perry, obviously part of the Elite. The Young Bucks are gone now. So, what is Jack Perry doing? He's not going to pal around with Okada, is he? I don't think so. So, I guess it makes sense to take the belt off of him here. I think Daniel Garcia needed to be a singles champion a long time ago. But this story was so weird because every chance that he got, Daniel Garcia got one up on Jack Perry. Jack Perry tried to attack Matt Menard during a Daniel Garcia match, and Daniel Garcia ended up helping Matt Menard, and they tied Jack Perry to a car, tied him to his scapegoat bus, and then tied him to the hood of the scapegoat bus, and then drove it while he was on it, and then like tied him up and left him in an abandoned warehouse or something. And he tried to like attack. He basically hit the bus with a bat, broke one of the headlights, and then just left it there, and then just left Jack Perry tied up. So I don't know how he got out of that. But yeah, at every chance that Daniel Garcia got, he got one up on Jack Perry. So it would make sense for people to believe that Jack Perry would end up winning this match because of that. I still picked Daniel Garcia to win, but I don't know. This was weird. The build was weird, but I'm very happy for Daniel Garcia. They did this video right before Daniel Garcia's entrance, where Daniel Garcia was like sitting in the park listening to music, and he had like this message from his mother, and his mother basically told him that he always wants to help people, always wants to help people that like him. Sometimes he wants to help people that don't like him, but just wants him to have fun and to go out there and you know, it was supposed to be like an inspiring thing, like just go out there and enjoy what you do and kind of thing. But yeah, it was fine. This match was this was a good match. Like I said, every match on the show was pretty good to great. They had a lot of good. They have great chemistry, these two, and I like what they do together. There just wasn't a lot to this match as far as like that made it like on the level of like Will Ospreay and stuff like that. Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. But there was some moments throughout the match where obviously Jack there was a point where he brought the belt in the ring and was like taunting him, like, oh, you're not gonna beat me, and you're not good enough to beat me. And Daniel Garcia would like fire up, and he does this version of the sharpshooter called the Dragon Tamer, which I like it a lot actually. But it's cool because he like puts this extra torque on the sharpshooter, And yeah, he tries to goat Daniel into hitting him with the belt, but of course that would cause a disqualification. And because of that, he gives the belt to the ref, and Jack hits a low blow and then hits a running knee like he's about to win. But Daniel still kicks out, which shocks Jack Perry. And yeah, Daniel would fire up, hit the Dragon Tamer, put that extra torque on it, and get the submission victory. So Daniel Garcia is the new TNT champion, and that's great. And I love that for him. Now we have to see what's next for Jack Perry, because the Young Bucks are not here for who knows how long. And yeah, I don't know what you do with Jack Perry if he's not in the elite right now. It would be weird. I don't know if it would be weird, but you could maybe tease that he's going to join the Death Riders. You could. He needs to be doing something, right? So I don't know. Daniel Garcia. I I am of the belief that other champions should not be in the C2. Because that means he would have to take losses. So I don't want to see him in the C2 again for that reason. That's why I didn't put him on my list of predicted participants. That, and I also wanted all the participants to be different from last year. I didn't want a single repeated entrant. But is it likely that happens? I don't know. But he has mentioned that he wants to be in it again. Probably to have a better performance. But now that he's the TNT champion, I don't want him in it. I want him to focus on that championship. I want him to have killer matches with other people. Like Buddy Matthews, for example. Buddy Matthews versus Daniel Garcia would be a hell of a match at some point. So yeah, I don't know who's next for Daniel Garcia is a better question. Who's next? And I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But as far as Jack Perry goes, I don't know what you do with him. I really don't. Not right now. Maybe he disappears for a little bit. Or goes back to New Japan. I don't know. So the next match, and this match, I think we expected this match to be on the level of Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, and it wasn't. So this was a good match. It was just not the match we expected, right? It was Konosuke Takeshita defending the International Championship against Ricochet. First thing I noticed right away, very weird that they were both wearing the same color. I don't like that. That might be a nitpick. If it is, then that's fine. But it's just odd when two guys are fighting each other and they happen to be dressed alike. But this match was very good. It's Ricochet and Konosuke Takeshita, two of the best in AEW right now. It just wasn't. Maybe they had some restrictions on this match because they're going to have a rematch and they want the rematch to be bigger than this match. Maybe they were strapped for time. Maybe they had to shorten this match to get everything in on the later matches. I don't know, but I mean, there was a lot of good stuff here. It just wasn't amazing. It was very good, and that's fine. That's fine. Ricochet and Takeshita are both great, and they had some good chemistry here. It just they could have did more. I think they could have did more, and they didn't. And I'm hoping if there is a rematch down the line, that is the case. That we get the match that I expected to get here. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm expecting too much. Maybe because Takeshita's had the matches that he's had with Ospreay and the triple threat that he just had with Ospreay and Ricochet, I expected this match to be on the level of that. And I don't know. It just wasn't. And that's fine. Again, that's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad match because it wasn't on the level of Ospreay and Fletcher. It just wasn't. It wasn't like if you're rating it on like a star level, this is like a 4.25, and that's okay. That's fine. So what's next for these guys? Is this feud over? I don't think so. I want to say it is. Maybe Ricochet is in the C2. I didn't even think about putting him in it when I put participants down, but you could probably take out, like, I had Nick Wayne in there. You could probably take Nick Wayne out and put Ricochet in. But yeah, I just want to see what's going to be next. I do not. So before Takeshita won the international title, I was certain he was going to be in the C2 and win it because he had such a good showing in the G1 and, of course, did not win it. That was Zack Sabre Jr. But now that he is the international champion, as I mentioned, the same with Daniel Garcia, I don't want him in it. I want him to focus on the belt that he has. I don't want any of this Triple Crown stuff. Like, sure, he's already the international champion. If he wins the C2 and wins the Continental Crown, then goes into January 5th, January 4th, Wrestle Kingdom to face Shingo Takagi, champion for champion, international title versus never openweight, then I guess it would be cool if he has a Triple Crown championship where he's also holding a New Japan belt like Eddie Kingston did. But I just don't need that. I want him to focus on the international belt. I want him to have stellar killer matches with other people on the roster. And I'm going to throw that name out again. Buddy Matthews, right there. Brody King, right there. Malachi Black, right there. All three of them. But there's a whole list of guys that he could be having great matches with for that belt. So that's why I don't want him in the C2. Yes, he could have amazing matches with people in the C2, but I think he should be focusing on that belt. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Ricochet, I could see in the C2 because he did not win here. Other than that, I don't know what's next for Ricochet. He did get invited into the Hurt Syndicate, turned it down. Maybe he's involved in that. We're actually about to talk about that match, so let's talk about that match. The Hurt Syndicate is killing it right now. And Bobby Lashley is finally... So this is technically Bobby Lashley's debut, right? Because his first match in AEW was a squash handicap match where he beat Cheeseburger and some guy named Joe Keys. I think I had seen Joe Keys before, but Cheeseburger, poor Cheeseburger, because that guy is so good and is so well liked and is so just knowledgeable about wrestling and stuff. If you see some of his interviews, yeah. So Bobby Lashley versus Swerve Strickland was exactly what I expected. This match, to a T, really, was mostly Bobby Lashley with Swerve hitting some hope spots and Swerve winning. And of course, Shelton was involved, MVP was involved, and Swerve, his only help is Nana. Now, obviously, I think this feud is going to continue, and the reason it's going to continue is because Swerve needs help. Who is that help? So, Also, I think the Hurt Syndicate needs more members. Leo Rush pops right off the page for his history with Bobby Lashley for sure. Him being associated with Top Flight is not really resulting in anything, so put him in here. And then Swerve needs to get help, right? Ricochet would fit the mold. Do we want to say that it could be Keith Lee? That's hopeful, right? That's hopeful. But who knows when Keith Lee's going to be back? And is he still going to resent Swerve for everything that Swerve did to him? Will it be harder for Swerve to find friends to help him because of the way he treated people in the past? If the Hurt Syndicate goes after Ricochet, I feel like Ricochet would easily be involved. Then who else do you get? It would be really cool if you have another team of all black members. Ricochet, Swerve, maybe Hobbs, or I don't know. I don't know who else. But you got to do something to continue this. This match, a lot of fun. Not very long, only like 11 minutes, 13 minutes. And there was some great moments in this match. 13 minutes. Lashley pretty much in control most of the match. They go to the outside and Swerve does this great Swerve stomp on a standing Bobby Lashley into the table. That was great. Lashley hit a spear into the barricade. Yeah, a lot of great moments in a short amount of time. But not surprised by the winner at all. I think that I there was the DDT on the apron. That was a cool spot. And the way that Lashley took it, like he didn't like land too hard on the apron. He kind of just fell off of the apron onto the ground. That was cool. MVP obviously was there, playing a factor, causing a distraction. That's what caused the spear on the outside through the barricade. So we'll see what happens here. Obviously, like I said, Swerve is going to need help. And in the Hurt Syndicate is most likely going to add more members. So we'll see. Does this bring in Keith Lee? Maybe. It really depends on his health and if he's able to come back. But Ricochet being involved, maybe Hobbs, anybody else on the roster that has gotten the business card, we'll see. I would like to see more people involved here. I don't want this feud to be over yet, obviously. It's too early for it to be over. And Swerve has to get his win back. So I would say you probably get some kind of multi-man tag match, 6-man trios, or a regular tag. Maybe, and then sometime down the line, you get a singles rematch between Lashley and Swerve, with Swerve finally getting the victory. Depending on whether or not you want Lashley to be taking pins, or maybe you do like a last man standing type thing, so he doesn't take a pin. So we'll see what happens. But yes, this was also very good. And that brings us to the main event. So the main event, man, I love Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley has consistently been probably my favorite wrestler in the last 15 years. Yeah, something around that time. I mean, he came into WWE around 2012. So close to 15 years. That's kind of when I got to really like him. But the stuff he's been doing now, man, it's so good. This kind of like a takeover of AEW of him, Pac, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir basically taking over AEW and just taking out anybody that gets in their way and causing all these big brawls and hurting people and doing this and doing that. And Orange Cassidy having to be the guy who has to step up and be the guy, be the face of AEW when AEW needed somebody most. Even though he doesn't want to be that guy, he knows that he has to. And the history between him and Moxley playing a factor and him using that to try to win the match early, going back to their match from last year where Orange Cassidy finally beat Jon Moxley for the first time. And just the build, this match was built perfectly. It was a very slow build to getting to the finish, where it started off hot with Orange Cassidy going at him, and then Moxley would just systematically take control and then never lose it. Yes, Orange would have some hope spots here and there, but as soon as Orange Cassidy started bleeding, it felt like Jon Moxley was in his element, and it never went away. There was a moment during this match where Orange Cassidy was bleeding and Jon Moxley hit the paradigm shift, not the Death Rider. There is a difference. So the paradigm shift is like the old dirty deeds that he did in WWE. He hits it on the stairs, like on top of the stairs. And Orange Cassidy is bleeding so much that the blood splatters on the stairs. This was a great visual for what we got. And the way that Orange Cassidy was bleeding throughout this match really played a factor because his blood was everywhere. It was all over Jon Moxley. It was all over the ring. It was all over Orange Cassidy's own shoes. It was everywhere. It really showed how brutal this match could be. And Jon Moxley just doing what Jon Moxley does, systematically breaking down Orange Cassidy throughout the match. And just doing all this gnarly stuff, biting him where he's bleeding, scratching, clawing, everything that Jon Moxley just does. And man, so at one point, Orange Cassidy is trying to power up to get back into this. And that's when Pac and Claudio show up. Now, Orange Cassidy told the conglomeration that he did not want them to come to ringside. So they did not come to ringside when the match began. They only showed up when Claudio and Pac showed up. And in that time, they thwarted Pac and Claudio to prevent them from interfering. They did get on the apron, causing the referee to be like, "What are you guys doing? Get out of here." That's when the conglomeration showed up. Ishii, Kyle O'Reilly, and Rocky Romero. So during that, Willow makes a surprise return, who has been out with an injury, and spears Marina Shafir out of the ring as she was going to use the briefcase that holds the championship on Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy gets a hold of that briefcase and hits Moxley in the face with it and gets a near fall. And that is where everything turns around, because Wheeler Yuta shows up right after this near fall and hits a running knee, hits a psycho knee on Orange Cassidy. And Orange Cassidy then gets hit with a Death Rider, then that's the 1, 2, 3. So really driving home the fact that the Death Rider is one and done, really driving home the fact that the numbers were just too much, even with the conglomeration's help. Orange Cassidy just couldn't get it done, even though he tried his hardest. Now, after the match, now I can't. This match ruled. Absolutely loved it. Love John Moxley. Love Orange Cassidy. Love the way John Moxley did everything in this match. Everything that he did in this match ruled. After the match, a pretty surprising appearance by Hangman Adam Page. Now, this was very confusing to me at first because I'm wondering what's he doing out here? And while they're having a stare down, obviously we know of the history between them. While they're having a stare down, Christian shows up and hits the kill switch and is about to cash in his contract for a championship match when Jay White shows up. And Jay White has not forgotten that not only is Hangman responsible for his time away, but so is Christian. So he prevents Christian from cashing in. And so now Jay White and Adam Page are involved in this stuff for the world title. And the Death Riders get Moxley out of there after Jay White shows up. And it was very weird how this not weird. Weird's the wrong word. It was very I don't even know how to describe it. You had Paige, and then you had Christian, then you had Jay White. Are all of these people getting involved in the Death Rider stuff? So after Jay White leaves, after they get Moxley out of there, Jay White just leaves. And you get the Death Riders leaving like they normally do, getting that pickup truck ready to go. And as soon as we get to that camera shot, another car comes into the frame and crashes into that pickup truck. I immediately assumed who it was, and I was correct. So commentary had no idea, which is weird. So they attack. I guess it was like a they attack somebody and steal somebody's car keys and just get into another car and drive away. And as they're driving away, who's in that car that crashed into the pickup truck? Darby Allin. Obviously, we're setting up something for Darby Allin to be the person that beats Jon Moxley. It has to be. Darby Allin has to be the guy because he is their top babyface. Orange Cassidy is on that list for sure, but Darby Allin is the top babyface in AEW. He's the guy who was there, who looked the most disheveled after the Bryan Danielson loss to Jon Moxley. He's the one that's been there for all of this, from doing, showing up every single time. So Darby is the guy. Darby has to be the guy. Just when is that? Is it at World's End? I don't think so. Do you save it for Australia? Or is that a spot for Jay White? I don't know. I feel like Darby has to be the guy, but also Darby is possibly still going to climb Mount Everest. When is he doing that? So everything is wait and see right now. But are all of these people going to be involved with the Death Riders, or is Jay White, Christian, and Hangman going to do something else to get like? Is that going to be a thing where Page and Christian Cage and Adam Page are working together against Jay White, and Jay White needs the rest of the Bang Bang Gang, but the Guns are hurt. I don't know if that's an angle or if they're hurt for real, but who knows? Um, Again, all of this is wait and see. But yeah, so John Moxley's still the champion. Darby Allin is on the hunt, I guess, crashing into their truck with his own car, and that's the end of the show. The Death Riders get into another car and just drive away. And Darby Allin is left there bleeding from crashing the car, calling John Moxley. So what is next? We'll have to wait and see. The C2, we're going to get the participants. As I mentioned at the top, I thought this was a very good show. Not better than Revolution, but still a very good show. Revolution is still my show of the year for sure. But yeah, man, this show was just a lot of fun. And as I mentioned, and I repeated a couple of times, not a bad match on the show, just a couple that were a lot better than others. And that is absolutely okay. I like when I like personally, I like when I like everything. And I kind of did like everything, just liked other things more than other things. So that's going to do it for me. Like I said at the top, I don't know if this is going to be a regular thing when Alan isn't available. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I had fun talking about this show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed me talking about it by myself. If not, sorry. Um, but thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And as I say all the time, you can support this show by going to our linktree/going over big time podcast, where it has every way to support us, every way to listen, every way to watch, every way to follow us on Twitter X, on Blue Sky. Our Blue Skies are on there now, so you can follow me at at MikeJC821.bluesky.social. So check out Blue Sky, guys. That seems to be the new hot spot. Yeah, really, really enjoyed this show. Really enjoyed talking about it. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it as well and enjoyed listening to me talk about it. So that's going to do it for me. As always, watch the wrestling you want to watch, not the wrestling that everybody tells you to watch. And just enjoy wrestling. Just have a good time watching wrestling and have a good time talking about wrestling. And that seems to be a thing that we're doing on Blue Sky for sure. So that is going to do it for me, guys. Thank you. Have a good one.